What's up? What's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we discuss the arts, science, and business of comedy with comedians and comedian adjacent. With this episode's guest, John Verrico. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist and host of Done Way Past Funny. This is the conclusion of our interview with motivational speaker John Verrico. Enjoy.
Sometimes, you know what? I actually save the fortunes for my fortune cookies when they have something like that in there. Yeah,
Is there a royalty involved? I mean, because they're not copyrighted, right? They're just. I mean, in the old days before AI, somebody thought of these quotations. Now, usually
somebody had to come up with them. Yeah,
right. In the old days, some of them might say Lao Tzu. You know, especially
right. Yes,
like the journey of 1,000 leagues starts with one step.
One step. It was Lao Tzu.
Yeah. Lao Tzu, right? Lao Tzu. And now it's like AI could be just generating the fortune cookies, and it says things like TikTok today, time has passed tomorrow, or something like what the what the.
I know.
And then some people go like, "That's very wise. That's right. Because if you waste your time on TikTok today, your tomorrow's gone. Yes, that's very smart."
my favorite fortune that I got. We had gone to a restaurant, and the waiter that we had was just dour. I mean, he no personality, and I'm exuberant. I like to joke around with people and all. Nothing was working. I could not break this guy at all. No matter what, he brought me the food, and I gave him a plate that I practically licked clean. I goes, "Oh, I hated this stuff," Nothing. Gave us the fortune cookies. I opened the fortune cookie, and my fortune says, "Life is not as serious as your waiter may appear." Like somebody's watching us with this one, man.
In the back is going typing this up, going like, I got a good one. No, make sure the Verrico party gets it.
Give it to that guy. The guy with the bright shirt.
Yeah, give it to him. No, this one's yours. No, it's his. Get off it. That's his. You don't get one. No.
The thing is, GD, and you know this, right? Our purpose here on this earth is to bring joy to others. That's what we're here. And so whatever way we can do that, whether it's, with a smile, with a joke, we're brightly colored shirts. I mean, I've been wearing brightly colored shirts for years. I tell you a story briefly. I didn't always have a pattern shirt, but even when I was doing the suit and tie thing, in government, I would wear like jewel toned colored shirts and loudish ties.
Yes.
And so I had a brief stint working in the governor's press office under Governor Glendenning's administration. Mm-hmm. Very brief stint because I hated the politics. I don't like being around the politics. I worked in government for 42 years, and my focus was on the good work that government
the civil servant part of it.
Yes, not the politics. But anyway,
politician.
I had a brief stint in the governor's press office, and I went to an event that the governor's wife was at, and I was wearing a cobalt blue shirt. And she looked at that shirt, and she looked at Paris, Governor Glendenning, and she smacked him. And she goes, "Paris, you need to wear shirts like that. You need to wear some colors." That was on a Friday evening. Monday morning, Paris Glendenning walks in a navy blue shirt. Now, his palette was normally light blue,
slate,
gray, maybe white, obviously, and maybe every once in a while he'd really break it out and wear an ecru,
Ooh, crazy. He went crazy.
I'm really crazy. He walked in with a navy blue shirt on, no tie, open collar. He walks directly into my office, comes to my desk, slams his fist down, and goes, "This is your fault."
So you did this to me.
Later on that afternoon, he comes back in and he slams a newspaper down on the desk and he goes, "It's your damn fault." And he walked out again. And I look, and it was the style column commenting on Paris Glendenning's new human look. That same afternoon. It was just so
Do you
awesome.
still have that newspaper clipping?
No, I don't.
You should have made him sign it.
I don't.
Now, my wife works for the government, state of Maryland, and so she goes to these parties with the muckety mucks, and and one of the things they do is during Christmas they give them a Christmas decoration.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and so she had them from I'm trying to think, Hogan. Is it, yeah, Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave them away, and that they were actually, I used to give I used to give all the decorations away because I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't have a Christmas tree, and I thought it was kind of stupid for me to have all these decorations from the governor,
mm-hmm.
and they're just sitting in a drawer somewhere. So my wife says you can give them away. So I gave them away, but my family is like 99% Democrats. Nobody wanted the Hogan ones.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know where they are, honestly. I think I gave them to my stepson, who's a Republican. But now we have a Democratic governor again. So now I have my first what is his name? Governor Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I have my first Governor Moore Christmas decoration in here, and now I think I'm going to keep him for a while. Anyway, I think.
There you go.
Good.
There you go. I worked for Maryland state government for about 10 years. So 92 to 2002. And then when I got out of the Navy in 1990 and then went in the reserves and then I got recalled for Desert Storm. So wound up doing another year and a half and it finally started in state government. I worked for the Department of Natural Resources back in 1992. And then I went to the Department of Environment, and then ultimately left state government in 2002, and that's when I became a Fed.
Now, I think Desert Storm, that's the one that was originally called Operation Iraqi Liberation. I think because they have I think it was originally called Operation Iraqi Liberation, and they realized, well, that spells oil. We can't call it oil. We can't call it that. Desert Storm.
I got recalled for Desert Shield.
Oh, which one? Desert Shield, was that the Kuwait one?
That was the first one. That was the first part of it. Desert Storm was when the war actually started.
Right. Okay. So Desert Shield, was that the one the Iraq invaded Kuwait? Was that Desert Shield?
Yep. So that started Desert Shield.
Right.
And then Desert Storm was when we actually started taking official military action.
Right, and that was the one that they were going to call it Operation.
So I was there for Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and then part of the third operation was the recovery aspect, and I forget what it was called. I have to look it up now.
Yeah, one of my close friends was there for Desert Shield and Desert Storm. It's funny. There was I'm trying to think. I don't know if you remember this. This was there was hostages taken, and one of them was this blonde-haired lady she was the face of the hostages. This blonde, blue-eyed lady, and I can't remember her name. But that's all Bush and them would talk about, was as if there were no other hostages. They wanted her to be the face of the hostages, and I became friends with one of the people that was in that platoon that was with her, that was captured in and he said that they weren't in any real danger. They weren't really captured. They were actually being held safe away from the people that would have killed them.
Huh.
And so it wasn't a rescue mission. It was more like a get them out of the country mission, because they were safe where they were. They were just being held together like some rebels, so to speak, saying like, you're safe here, but we can't go. We don't have the wherewithal to get you out of the country. we can just keep you here and feed you until you can get out. Now, so they weren't that captured, so to speak. But if you listen to the headlines here, it was like the whole thing, the staging with the Marines that went in, that was like staged. But the weirdest thing is I knew one of the Marines who was in there, and he was pissed that they had to rescue them. And it's just so bizarre that they had two totally different viewpoints. He's
God,
like, they were
wow.
so stupid, they shouldn't have gotten captured. And meanwhile, I got this friend of mine who was there. He goes like, well, yeah, the IED, it was an IED, I think, hit, they ran up an IED, I think it was. It's been so long since I've had to talk about this. But it's just so weird to me that they had the two different, they both worked for the U.S. government, but he was like, we had to go in and rescue them. Like, he didn't know that they weren't rescuing him. He's like, no, you're not rescuing him. No, it was just bizarre. But
it was Operation Southern Watch.
Oh, okay.
And actually, Iraqi Freedom came later. It came almost 10 years later. Was Iraqi Freedom?
Now, is that okay? That's the one that was under Bush too.
Yeah, under Bush too.
Okay, I think that's the one. I think Iraqi Freedom was the one that was going to be called Operation Iraqi Liberation. I think that's the one, and they changed it to Freedom because
Freedom.
because of the oil. Yeah,
yep.
Now that makes sense. Yeah,
yep, that's what that one was.
Yeah, because
So that was and a lot of people mix it up, and I was even confused there at the beginning because I know it started with Desert Shield, then Desert Storm, and then less known was Operation Southern Watch, which was more of the kind of the preventing further aggression type of thing. We had names for all the operations, everything.
Oh yeah, you have to. Yeah. So before I let you go, is there like first of all, is there anything you want to touch on that we didn't touch on? And is there a cause or something that you just want people to be aware of that you will not know? And also, because you're a motivational speaker, do you do like charity events as well, like auctions and stuff like that?
Yes, I do. I actually have emceed a lot of fundraisers and that kind of thing. I did one actually just a few years ago for a cause in India that was looking to build a school for girls.
And you didn't call me? You went to India? As close as we are, you didn't call me? No.
It was a fundraiser here to support a school being built in India for
never
girls.
Mind then.
Yeah,
it's a good thing you didn't call me.
No.
No.
Next time.
Okay.
But yeah, I did a fundraiser for that one. We actually were able to raise enough funds to support over 100 girls to get them into the school and to build a $50,000 extension onto the school that they had built so far, which was a big deal because in India they didn't allow, in that part of rural India, they didn't allow girls to go to school because girls were supposed to stay home and help the family and then get married off for a dowry. Yeah.
Now, okay, so people who want to book you and hire you, because you're problem solver, but I think you also teach motivational speaking, if I got this right. A coach, or
I'm a speaker. I'm a coach for speakers as well. Yes, I've been working past couple of years helping people with their public speaking skills, getting over their fear of speaking. I mean, there's something about public speaking that just terrifies the average person.
Oh yeah,
it is the number one fear in the world. Actually, is public speaking.
Yeah,
and so, and I'm going to tell you where I learned a little bit of this from. When I worked, you have time for another story?
Sure. Oh yeah.
When I worked for the Maryland Department of Natural Resources back in the early 90s, they had a program called Scales and Tails. And they would go out to schools and public events with, reptiles and birds of prey.
So it's just like it sounds. Okay.
Exactly what it was. Teaching people about these animals. And most of the reptiles were mostly pets that people had released, of like, a 15-foot boa constrictor.
Yeah.
Iguanas and stuff like that. Things that are not normally found in the Maryland area.
Right.
And was basically teaching people about responsible pet ownership and all that other stuff. But then there were also birds of prey. And I was fortunate enough to be able to work with that program and handle some of these birds. Now, hawks and owls and such like that, and they're beautiful birds. These raptors are amazing to work with. The important thing is that these are injured birds. That's why they're in the program. Okay, if it was an injured bird and it could be rehabilitated and released in the wild, it was. But some of these had permanent injuries. There was an owl who was blind in one eye. There was, there were birds with one wing and things like that. So we use these in education programs to teach people about these animals and the role that they play in the environment. That said, we tell people, don't touch these birds. They're not pets. These are wild animals and they have injuries. So they're cranky,
Yeah.
So here is a great horned owl, one of the largest animal we have in the eastern United States. It's a beautiful bird. It is, all these great features about it because he can see a rabbit from 3 miles away. He can hear a mouse walking in the grass a mile away. They get laser focused on their food, all this great stuff. This beak is razor sharp.
Yes.
But that is not his primary weapon. His weapon is his talons.
Yes.
And those talons, they come to a needle point, very, very sharp. But the strength of their talon is their real weapon. They crush at 350 psi.
Now that I didn't. I knew they were strong, but
yeah. So that's how they actually kill their prey.
It only takes 8 pounds, just so people know. I think it only takes 8 pounds of pressure to break a human bone.
To break a bone, yes. So imagine 350 psi coming from this
overkill.
Owl. So we tell people, do not get close to this owl. He will rip your face off. He'll tear your eyeballs out and show them to you before you die.
It almost sounds like it sounds like a scene from Christmas Story. He'll poke your eye out.
Yeah, right. Now, we also had in the program a vulture, black vulture.
Okay.
Now, they're nasty-looking birds.
Yes.
Right? And you know why vultures are bald, by the way, on the top?
I think they're worried about their next meal.
That they're bald?
No, yeah, they're worried about their next meal. They're always going, where am I going to find something dead around here?
I love it.
This is Baltimore. There's nothing dead in Baltimore. Oh,
they're in the wrong part of Baltimore if they're not fine anyway.
That's just like, go downtown.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can no problem there. So you know what they eat? I mean, they eat dead stuff, right?
Yeah, they're scavengers.
So, all right, now they've got this long, nasty-looking beak. But if you look at their face, they don't have really strong jaw muscles.
Right.
That's why they have to wait for their food to kind of putrefy a little before they eat it. Hopefully, nobody's watching this before lunch. So this long, narrow beak of theirs is designed to get into the soft tissue and get between the bones and all that other stuff. Now, you can imagine they get kind of covered with ick.
Yeah.
The top of their head is the one part they cannot reach to clean.
Right.
If they had feathers up there, they could get disease and all this stuff would just fester. But because they're bald, it doesn't stick. And so when you see them and they're hovering way high in the air, they're actually drying that off so it flakes off. Okay, so now you've learned something new today about vultures. I didn't know that. Now, this vulture, like I said, the jaw muscles are not very strong. And so because of that, that beak cannot hurt you. His feet are feet. They're not talons. They're made to stand or walk, and to hold on to a branch. That's about all they can do. That bird can't hurt you if he wanted to. Now, you tell people, don't go near the owl. He'll tear your throat out. Don't go near the vulture, because how the vulture defends himself is he will puke on you. Now you know what they eat, so you know that's got to be super nasty. And so puking
people are thinking they eat carry-on luggage. No, not carry-on luggage. He's puking Gucci on me.
So now when they puke, that does two things, right? Number one, it's a delay tactic, right? They get whoever's trying to get near them gets all nasty and they freak out. But then also that makes them lighter so they can take off faster. All right. Again, you tell people the owl will tear you apart. The vulture will puke on you. People will get right up to that stupid owl and try to touch it, and they'll back off 20 feet from the vulture. And here's why. Is because if you get maimed by an owl and survive, you got kind of a cool story. But if you get puked on by a vulture, your posse will never let you live that down. And so the eye opener from all of this is the fact that we are more afraid of being embarrassed than we are of true injury.
Yeah.
And that's why public speaking is such a huge fear.
Yes, it's and this is because you told the vulture thing. One of the most magnificent things I've seen in the animal kingdom, because I've been to like I've been to like 48 of the I've been to 49 of the 50 states. I haven't been to Hawaii yet. So I've seen like the canyons and the mountains and the rivers and valleys and deserts, and I've been like hit by a dust devil. You know, because it changed direction. We were like chasing it, going, "This is cool. Let's get pictures." Holy shit! It's changed direction. It hurts. But
you learned something that day, didn't you?
Yeah. So one of the things there was one of the most magnificent things I've ever seen in nature in the animal kingdom. There was a tree. You know, this is during the autumn. There were no leaves in the trees. There was just bare branches. And there was about 50 vultures.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just before sunrise. And they're all sitting in the tree and they're all facing where the sun is going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there watching, and yes. And the sun comes up and they all open their wings. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I wish I had a camera for that.
It's
like,
amazing.
oh my God. Yes, it was. It was orchestrated. And the closest thing I can think of is I think there's a movie called City of Angels or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the angels at sunrise will all go to the beach. And when the sun would rise, the angels would like sing or hum with the sunrise. And that's kind of what it was like. The sun comes up and all the vultures, even though there's no sound, in my head, I could hear singing.
Yes. It's an amazing thing to watch, and they just stand there and they're basically stretching and drying their wings and feeling the heat start to rise, which that enables them to start launching. But,
we had some vultures in our yard. There's like 5 of them, and they did that. And my wife goes, "Oh, look!" I said, "Oh, that's nothing." I saw 50. I saw 50 in a tree.
When you see 50 of them, then it's something.
That's right. Call me when you see 51 in our yard.
But anyway, so hopefully that too, that being able to use that story shows you how, using humor, you'll remember now about how vultures defend themselves. And you also will remember why public speaking is such a fear.
Because you're afraid that the host will throw up on you. If you don't laugh, you'll rip your eye out, right? That's what I learned.
Is that Pitch Perfect?
Yeah, that's it.
Is it puking? Yeah, anyway. So, GD, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, guys, if you're out there, not if you're out there, but if you're interested in booking John in any of his services, there's his website. And John, I really appreciate you doing this with me. And I had no idea. I knew that we had some things in common, but I didn't know that we had like that much in common.
So amazing. Amazing.
So I appreciate you doing this. And the pictures of let me see the pictures. Don't forget pictures of. I'll remind you
Yeah.
Because what will happen is I'm going, because I have to go through and watch to see where I'm going to need pictures, and they'll go, oh, I don't have a picture of his mom. I don't have a picture of his dad. I don't have a picture of him in his disco outfit.
Oh, that I'm not sure I'm going to put out there. So
me, I got your headshot. I'll find a disco picture. I'll find a picture of Turbo from Breaking 3, and I'll put your head right on him.
Like I said, the original John Revolting. Here, if you're going to put me on anything, put me on Travolta's body. No, anyway, there is one picture in existence from the disco era. One picture, and it was a Polaroid. And it's all cracked and nasty and stuff. But I was doing a speaking gig at an event, and the young girl who was putting together the agenda and coordinating to get everybody's bios and all that stuff, she was younger than my underwear. And she saw in my bio that I was a disco dance instructor. And she said, disco dance? I didn't even know that was its own category of dancing. I'm like, oh, yes. And she said, what would you wear for that? I'm like, this is what you're concerned about? Okay, there is one picture in existence. I will show it to you, but I'm not going to transmit it online. And I will just show it to you when I see you. And I did. And it is a picture of me in a silver lame jumpsuit with a light gray fedora. Just close your eyes and imagine it, and then when you get done puking,
I have a picture. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea at the time. I went through a phase where I really liked leisure suits. I did. I still love it. I really love bell bottoms. I miss bell bottoms.
Yes.
Bell bottoms were my favorite.
Bell bottoms were the thing, man.
Bell bottoms and platform shoes. That was to me, that was the height of fashion for me. And I had a picture taken at a photography studio, and I'm wearing this white disco type vest. You know, the vest that goes like this, but the buttons down here.
Yep.
And white pants and a red shirt, and I'm smiling like I'm the hottest thing. I am so embarrassed by that picture. I am
which is why I will never allow that other picture to go online.
No, I'm afraid that if I die before my wife, that's the picture she's going to use to show people, this is my husband. Like, no!
That'll be your obituary picture, man.
Oh, God, no. Oh, it's fun. I will end it on something about you, but I wanted to say, I told you about my urn.
Yes.
Right? So I did a show. When I did the show, I had obituaries made up for me, you know, for the show, part of the show. So when people came into the show, I gave them one of the obituaries. It has my face on there, and it had my date of death. My death was like 2 days before the show. It was like 2 days. Like, so it felt like if the show was like October 18th, and I died October 16th, and I had a cause of death and the whole bit. And like I said, I was the minister of my own funeral. I was the minister, and I'm supposed to be in the urn.
That's a riot.
And so I hand out the flyers with the obituary, and not everybody took the flyers with them. See, and to me, that's like it's like a program for a show. You know, you go, and that's what it was. They had like the homily and stuff like that. So it's actually a souvenir. But some people didn't take it with them, and they just like threw it around. So about 3 months later, I'm back at the same club, and a guy sees me, and he goes, "GD." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes,
"Oh no."
He goes, "I thought you were dead." I'm like, "What do you mean you thought I was dead?" He goes, "I saw your obituary." I'm like, and the thing is, I wish I had my hands on, because I would read it. No, maybe okay. I'll cut this part out and be looking for this out. But let's see if it's in here. Yes. See, like I said, I don't throw anything away. Okay, apparently September 4th, 2017 is when I died. Okay, it says here, G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist, died September 4th, 2017. G.D. had just gone into labor negotiations. He wanted to keep the baby, and his wife didn't want him to have a cow. He had the cow, and it hurt his pee-pee, and he bled out. Okay? The doctors tried to save him, but he wasn't carrying the letter from Liberty. Oh, this is a real inside joke here. The letter from Liberty Mutual disdain for their customers' insurance company, saying that he had 300 months to live. Okay, I'm going to explain that real quick. A while ago, I got injured on the job, and the insurance company was Liberty Mutual. I call them Liberty Mutual disdain for their customers. That's what I call them. They dragged it out. They dragged it. I couldn't have this for 7 years. I didn't have the surgery for years. I was performing and working. I didn't have any cartilage in my knee. The cartilage got torn out in an accident. So I'm walking bone on bone, and not in a good kind of way. For doing comedy, my job, everything. I wouldn't take drugs because I operated heavy machinery. So I'm just in pain all the time. And so once they decided to settle, just before they decided to settle the claim, they sent me a letter from their actuary. And the letter said that I had approximately 300 months to live. Okay. So that was the letter.
So that's how they determined the
Yeah, they were actually trying to wait me out. They were trying to wait me out just so to see if I would die before they'd have to pay up. Okay, so saying that he had 300 months to live, nor did it say how many days the months were. Were these 31-day months, 30-day months, 29.5-day months, 29-day months, 28-day months, or 27.31 days months? Now, each one of those is a different kind of month. Those are actual, there's a lunar month, the calendar months, 29, 28, 27.31. They're all different months. So, and that's just the beginning. I mean, but somehow from there, he believed I was dead. He'd seen this and thought I was dead.
And he actually thought that was serious stuff.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, who would write that in the obituary? It hurt his pee-pee?
Hurt his pee-pee.
Never has in the history of obituaries has the phrase hurt his pee-pee has ever been uttered in an obituary. Never. I defy anyone anywhere in the history of obituaries to find he hurt his pee-pee in an obituary.
I'm loving it. Oh my. And somewhere along the way, there's the proof. People will believe anything. They will believe anything.
Well, believe me, I had a good time. I enjoyed this, and I want to end this about you again. So let's do you have any charity? Now you do MC work.
Yeah, I'm a keynote speaker. Keynote speaker. I do training workshops in communication and leadership, resilience, dealing with change, and work-life balance. I'm also I do one-on-one coaching for leadership and communication, and particularly lately, mostly public speaking skills.
Okay, here's a question about when you're teaching people or coaching people as to how to be a public speaker. You endorse and use humor in it. When you have these students, how do you get them to be funny if they're not funny?
Well, first of all, everybody has their own way of making things work for them.
Well, that's true. Humor is subjective.
Okay, yes. Okay, yes. Yeah. So even though I use humor and my type of humor, what I look for is I help people to find what works best for them. Not everybody can do humor.
Right.
I shouldn't say that. There's a way that they can use humor in their material. The basic problem that happens is that people will use humor when they are not expected to use humor.
Oh, right.
I've known some people that'll start off and they'll have a very, stoic approach, and they'll have, they'll do their delivery of whatever speech they're making. And then somewhere in the middle of it, they'll insert a joke because somebody said they had to have humor in it, and nobody laughs. And the reason why nobody laughs is because you didn't give your audience permission to laugh. You didn't let them know at the beginning that there's actual humor in there and something to be laughed at, because you started off so flat.
Right.
So it's all about really understanding the personality of the individual, the people you're going to be speaking to, and then finding ways when humor is appropriate, how to use it, or if to use it or not. But it's not always, mandatory. But if you think about it, I mean, even eulogies that I've given, I've used humor in it. That helps people heal.
Yeah.
When we go to a funeral, the things that we remember, the things that help us to move on, or when we sit around and talk about the funny stories and the funny things that grandma did or Aunt Tessie did or whatever, remember that time that, grandpa farted on the way, walking down the hall. Those are the things that help us to move on.
Yeah. So. Yeah. See, And well, I'm gonna let you go on that because you just as soon as you said the grandpa farted story, like I got a fart story for you.
Right.
No,
There's always one. So,
yeah.
we'll just have to do this again sometime, GD.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And come back on Coffee with the Dog as well. You know.
I would love to come back. That was a lot of
Yeah,
fun
just
too.
get and we won't tell them that you and I actually like each other. You can get on there and says, "Is GD going to be on the show?" Fuck GD, I can't work with him.
I thought he was dead, man.
I heard he hurt his pee and bled out.
I'm gonna remember that one too.
Oh, so thank you so much, Johnny.
Hey, this has been great, man.
All right,
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Take care.